Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a best of 5 series of Protoss versus Terran. We're in the top left-hand corner with the blue Protoss pieces. We have none other than Zoun, and his opponent all the way in the bottom right with the red Terran SCVs. He goes by the name of Clem. Alrighty, this particular series was played during the Stara Zagora tournament, an offline event that just recently took place, and that means, of course, that both players were there at the venue. Now, historically, Clem, he kind of, well, struggled a little bit more at offline tournaments compared to online, but I think ever since the man won the World Cup, especially, but then also, I believe it was a DreamHack right before that, I'm not exactly sure. Either way, he has gained a ton of confidence over the years. And Clem, these days, is an absolute offline monster. Zoun, though, likewise, also obviously somebody you can never really count out. We've seen a bunch of series where the man is almost overperforming a little bit, right? I mean, spoiler alert for some of the other series that I did feature this man in, but he did recently take down Serral 2-0 in, like, straight-up StarCraft games. It was honestly very well done. So Zoun is playing some great StarCraft, but now he's going up against a Terran player, and well, this matchup certainly has been very interesting to watch over the last month or two, because it seems that Terran players have come to two realizations. The first realization is that winning against Protoss in the late game is tough. Second realization, therefore, we have to go for SCV all-ins in at least half of the games that we play. Now, to be fair, Clem is not a particularly big fan of SCV all-ins, but we've been seeing this time and time and time again from Terrans as of late. A lot of 2-base aggression, sometimes even some 1-base all-ins, where they just really don't step off the gas at all. They just slow push with bunkers, siege tanks, all the rest of it, and they just desperately try to end the game before Protoss ever really gets their economy under their feet. So, let's see what we can do here. Clem is, of course, an absolute monster. I've mentioned it many times before. Still on fire. Still a beast. And honestly, he might just be able to take back-to-back World Cup victories. I think he's probably my current favorite anyways. Heading into the... well, you see that Reaper? That Reaper did the longest jump of its life. Look at that. It went all the way... dang. Anyways, I think if I were to pick a favorite right now for the World Cup, I would say Clem. Yeah. And I say this as a bit of a Serral fanboy. Yeah. Maru has been looking really strong as well. As far as Protoss players go, I find it all a little bit up in the air. MaxPax obviously doesn't participate in offline tournaments, so we can't really lean on him very much, but Hero has been looking powerful. Then again, you know, if you put all of your eggs in one basket, right? Like, say you're a betting man and you put all your money on Hero. I mean, that's brave. It very much so depends on the day that the tournament is being played on, man. Some days, Hero looks phenomenal and pretty much unbeatable, and in the next game, he forgets that he has hotkeys that he can use for his army, and he just keeps sending the units away, and we just see constant run-bys hit his natural expansion, you know? It really depends on the day of the week. Anyhow, I think Clem is certainly looking powerful right now. So, it's going to be some good old Cyclone right now into a Banshee or two. I actually wonder if he's going to be going for some of those SCV all-ins as well. I haven't really seen Clem play it all too much. Which is kind of interesting. It seems like everybody right below the absolute cream of the crop when it comes to Terran players, they don't really seem to be too fond of going for SCV all-ins, but they still mix it in from time to time. One really cool thing, actually, that Clem has changed compared to last year's World Cup is that he is now one of the absolute best Protoss versus Terran players in the world. So he has effectively stopped playing TVT in 2025. I think he did like one series against Bunny, like a best of 3, but that's it. In every single tournament that he's played in 2025 so far, whenever he goes up against a Terran, Clem has been picking Protoss instead. And initially it was a bit of a meme, but right now I put him on effectively the same level as, like, maybe slightly below a Hero, slightly below a MaxPax. But Clem is a PvT monster. Fun to see. Anyways, third Nexus right now coming up. And it seems to have deepened his understanding of this matchup as well, though, which is cool to, you know, like from the Terran's point of view, I mean, it seems like he is now fully aware of exactly what Terran is capable of against Protoss. Well, so far this is a relatively passive game. Zoun just opening up with a good old triple gate into a quick Nexus. We have a Robo Bay on the back of this as well, so he's going to be building up into Colossi here in just a moment. And seems like we are settling in for a nice macro game to start this series off. Again, action in my mind at least is very much so on the Terran. A lot of Protoss players are happy to play the long, drawn-out macro game. Clem is somebody who very much so favors that momentum-based playstyle. And so far, we haven't really seen any of it yet. He doesn't even have a medevac, so can't really go for any drops. 2 Marines have died here. Stalker took a bunch of damage, but nothing out of the ordinary. We have a little bit of an engagement over here as well on the far bottom left. That was just a probe. Send out onto the map as a bit of a spotter unit, and that means now indeed that 4 Stalkers together with an Observer are gonna be dedicated to protecting the main. Oh, nice snipe! Second Stalker also falls. I love seeing the Reaper get some work done in the later stages of the game, because it rarely happens. This is going to be dangerous. Clem knows he's been spotted, he knows that the units will be inside of the main base, so what does he do? He attacks with the Stalkers, or sorry, where the Stalkers aren't, and he attacks in the natural expansion. And Clem is completely confusing his opponent here in the first game of this series. I mean, he's already working on the Nexus. Killing the Nexus here is basically game over. And I think he's going to be able to complete that easily. If he just right-clicks, he can easily get the job done. I mean, he wants to get the units, though, and that's always a bit of a gamble. Still a couple of siege tank shots go down, and I think the Nexus is as good as dead. There we go. All of the Terran units here are going to pay the price. But Clem now is finding himself in a really nice spot. 13 probes, a Nexus down the drain. It means that the counterattack for Zoun is something that you do have to take into consideration. But this is not a Terran player that has a third base just yet. As a matter of fact, we have Stimpack and all that just now done. Combat shields on the back of it too. Clem is thinking about meeting this army halfway as he sent out a medevac drop as well. I find this a little dangerous. Okay, good blink. Really no reason to meet that army in the middle. Recall, though, is going to be used right now, and that means that we are playing 2 base versus 2 base, with Terran about 15 supply up. Well, that will suit Clem just fine. He's got a 3rd base now in the making as well. It's about a 1/3 of the way finished. New Nexus did start up as well for Zoun, but whenever the bases are even in this matchup, it is an advantage for Terran. Zoun didn't really lose any of his super expensive units, though. So 1 Immortal ended up going down, a Sentry as well, but no Colossi or whatever that have really fallen. And those are going to be hitting the battlefield here in just a moment. Another drop just to keep this Protoss player occupied and make sure that their army can't really go across. He now sees the Robotics Bay start up its little Robotics Bay upgrade as well, so that's a big indication that indeed this will be a very conventional follow-up. If you can spot the ranged upgrade starting, you know that you're not going to be under really any pressure for at least, well, the duration of that upgrade. And Robo Bay, actually, like, these upgrades do take a while. Okay. Third Command Center will be acquired now. Notice the delay, though, right? For the longest time in this matchup, we've seen these players take the expansion super quick. Now we're already at like almost 9 minutes. Main base is starting to run out. Clem finally takes the base. Zoun, 30 supply behind. It's all in army. How in the world can you hold on right now? Clem is such a monster when it comes to this sort of thing. He's also in the meantime doing a cheeky little drop in the back of the main. This is not, though, where either player is really paying attention. Marauder count is high. Second Colossus joins in too. Clem slowly chipping away, now 40 supply ahead. Colossus count is going to get countered here in a moment by the Vikings. I like this style, though, from Clem across the board, right? So Clem, I think historically, sometimes was a little bit overly aggressive. In this particular instance, he's like, okay, perfect. I will just keep playing and we'll slowly extend our lead. Instead of trying to put all of our eggs in one big attack and we try to go, yeah, just get the game over with, there's really no reason for it. Obviously, the main problem, right, and the reason why we see Terran players across the board maybe sometimes overextend is because they know that the next wave of Protoss units is going to be not just Colossi and Stalkers and Zealots and all the rest of it, but we may just get some High Templar, we may see Archons, we may see Disruptors. It means that you kind of have to go into Ghosts in case it's Archons or High Templar, right? Like, it becomes a lot more difficult, but the old adage of when you're ahead, try to get more ahead, it still rings true. But sometimes it's easy to try and overextend, I guess, with Marine Marauder Medevac. Because Marine Marauder Medevac feels really comfortable. But here we go. We have some Ghosts added into the mix. And we're gonna be going into a much more complex Terran army. We're still one Disruptor hit, of course, away from this being a victory for Zoun. And that is what he's effectively banking on. He's now gonna have a difficult time, though, taking down half of the Terran's army. I love this. Clem sneaking a bunch of medevacs around the site, finishes the job that he started earlier, immediately runs away. There was a Disruptor over here, but it didn't get any damage done as there was a split by the Terran. Yeah, and if you're a Protoss fan, this is a painful game. Because this is Clem not really making any mistakes. Slowly, well, forcing his opponent out. Zoun still has an army, and he's like, come on, bro, fight me! Okay, fine, I'll get to your side of the map, but I think if he goes to the other side of the map, he's gonna get absolutely decimated. There's one sentry in the mix. This is obviously only a small portion of Clem's army. He's now sending in the reinforcements, trying to get these units into the position a little bit quicker. Sorry about that, Jimmy. New Nexus here, that's the third time we tried to build the third base. Robo Bay come up. We now have a planetary fortress as well here at the bottom of the map. +2/+2 coming up too. +1 air. Yeah, Clem is cruising. Now there are 4 Disruptors. 4 Disruptors is something that you have to respect. Keep in mind that Disruptors no longer one-shot Marauders, but the Marines, they're perfectly capable of going ahead and doing so. Okay, one of the Ghosts right there caught at the tail end of that particular fight. Yeah, clinical game so far by Clem. I mean, obviously it's impossible to play a perfect game, right? When you're doing this type of multitasking. We can have a look at what Clem is looking at while playing this type of match. A little bit of stutter step micro here to squeeze as much value out of these units as possible. It really helps when you have nearly 500 average actions per minute. Starts up another CC. We have a second starport already done. A fusion core is coming up. Yeah, everything is going exactly according to plan. Now, Zoun has done a good job, though, staying in this game. And while he is most definitely behind, he does have a very nice army. It comes down mostly to the Disruptor hits, though. Okay, well, getting a good bit of value there. Ghosts are taking a bit of a beating. Nice hit right there with the Purification Nova on some of the Widow Mines. Again, it is only a part of the Terran army. Clem never really boxing his units in one big ball. It's going to force a recall on at least some of the units here. In the meantime, the Disruptors are still trying to Nova some things down. Oh, he just snipes the units here too as they have shown up. One Nova is available defensively. That one gets dodged perfectly. Clem moves on over towards the newly acquired base on the left side of the map. Looks like Zoun keeps the expansion alive while being like 60 supply behind the opponent, but he does lose the one that he just finished building on the far left side of the map. Medevac's forced to pick up and get on out of there. Clem never started up 3-3. I think he could have started that a little while ago, but now he gets all of the Disruptors, and with it, he gets the game. Alrighty, next up, we find ourselves on the map Ley Lines. That must have been a frustrating game for Zoun. Because what exactly went wrong? Everything. You just got outplayed. It wasn't really like one thing that broadly went wrong. It's just that Clem was slightly faster, slightly better at micro, slightly better at macro, multitasking, predicting where the opponent... Everything was slightly better, which is probably the worst case scenario for Zoun. Clem, though, apparently does not care. He's going for some proxy shenanigans here in second game of the series. Leylines is the map, as he's building a barracks right outside of the natural expansion here of Zoun. Okay. This is, of course, a bit of a theme, right, in StarCraft 2. When you go up against a very good player, getting back into the game after you fall behind early is very tough. Usually, it's quite doable to stay alive. And that's effectively what Zoun managed to do in the previous game. He stuck in that game for an extra 10 minutes or so, but he fell behind a long time before that. And Clem was like, yo, perfect. I don't care. I am not in a rush to try and finish you off anytime soon. I'll just slowly chip away at your defenses and outgrow you. Works well as the first game in a series, as Zoun is now just about to get overwhelmed with non-stop aggression, it seems, again. This is cheeky, by the way, from Clem, because it's just obviously a complete all-in. And it is not going to be an easy thing for Zoun to hold by any stretch of the imagination, even if he scouts it. If he doesn't see it, though, he's in a world of trouble. And I don't think he is. He's skipping the probe scout altogether. If he goes sentry first, he is dead. Okay, at least it's a stalker first. That's something. But I mean, stalkers are still an easy target, of course, for the marauders. Can we make concussive shells? We should start up concussive shells, dude. There we go. Yeah, Clem taking it easy. He knows there's no probe scout, so if there's no probe scout, he's not really in a rush. He is chilling. Okay, this is the first time that Zoun goes out into the map. And this is going to be an extremely frustrating game for Zoun. Because if he just gets overwhelmed here, after getting pretty heavily outplayed in the first game of the series, well, now he sees what he's up against. How in the world do you hold this? He's got to pull the boys immediately, and that's exactly what happens. It was a stalker into a sentry. Okay. Sentry also falls. At least it threw down a couple of force fields there for good measure. Some nice target firing right here by the Terran, though. There's no infinite energy here on that shield battery, but the shield battery is still nice to have. Obviously, a bunch of SCVs also died. Still, if you can target them down one at a time, yep, the shield battery might repair, but not fast enough. Yeah, this is going from bad to worse right now for Zoun. Oof. So game number 1, you get heavily outplayed. Game number 2, you get rushed and lose the game by 3.5 minutes. Well then. Next up, we find ourselves on Last Fantasy, which is probably the trickiest map of them all. This is a 3-player map. It feels extremely crowded. Across the board, though, it is very good for Protoss. So I'm a little bit surprised, actually, Clem did not veto it. But I mean, if you're now in a map number 3, right, against Zoun, and you've won the first 2, I mean, it's the perfect map if you want to do something cheeky. Let's see. I would have loved to see barracks building right over here. I mean, it's the perfect position to build up a bunch of barracks right over here in this section. It's very obvious, too. Clem is not going to go for that sort of thing, but... let's see. Zoun, by the way, not scouting again. Are we going to send out a worker scout? I mean, I kind of feel like we need to, right? We can't possibly be... we can't be risking it all on a hunch again. Oh my god, we are. You know what? Props to Zoun here. He does not blink. Very easy for him to lose the game here to something silly again, but he is thinking, there's no way my opponent is going to cheese me twice in a row, right? I mean, this is Clem we're talking about. Clem is a macro Terran. He's an honorable Terran. He doesn't possibly cheese me multiple times back to back to back. We do go for a blind zealot here at the very least. Clem likewise also not scouting. Factory inside of the main. Okay. Double gas is here for both players. We will see a Nexus on the low ground in a moment, I'm sure. Nicely done. Okay. I like actually that Clem decided, of all players, right, to go for some cheeky all-ins there. We don't really see him do it all too often, but it's not really a strategy that you need to practice. If you can bring it out at the perfect time. I think it's clever because also in like future series that Clem and Zoun might play, it is going to be something that will be permanently burned into the memory of Zoun, right? At least it's something that he will always consider as one of your options. So it might just make him play a little bit more safely. At least so far he doesn't really care. As once more, we're just going Stalker into Sentry. Shield battery at the front. No? We're skipping the shield battery at the front? That seems nuts. He even goes for a Stargate. Zoun decides to play an even greedier game than he did in the previous one. Now we go shield battery. Yeah. So this is a greedier game than what Zoun did in the second game of the series, where he lost about 30 seconds from now. Lucky for him, he's going to be able to get away with it. Stargate build is strong. Not super popular anymore in the current meta, although we do still see it from time to time. Ooh, nice snipe right there on the sentry. Two workers end up going down. Reaper here in a little bit of trouble. But it's mostly just trying to scout out exactly what's happening. Yeah, a bit of an overextension, honestly, from Clem. I wouldn't have minded it if he decided to just settle for the sentry kill and then get out. Yeah, 3 probes is nice, I suppose. He knows that it's a Stargate opener, so the Stargate opener here is going to shut down a lot of follow-up aggression. So if you go for a Stargate build, you can, in theory, shut down Widowmine drops, Raven follow-ups, all the rest of it. Because we do have a probe heading across the map. Ooh, alright, where are we going? We'll have to keep an eye out on that. Normal follow-up from Phoenixes is usually into Colossi or charge slots. Now, considering we have a Twilight Council, I guess we're gonna go charge slots. And maybe we'll go for a very aggressive variant. Oh, okay, we're going Glaived Adepts. So Zoun 2-0 behind in the third game of a best of 5 series, decides that what he needs to do is do the greediest opener ever and then follow it up with an all-in. You gotta hand it to the man. That takes balls. Like, that is not something you can easily do. So, yeah, we're just gonna go for a good old Adept all-in on the back of this. And does Clem really expect this, right? I mean, Clem will face off against this strategy from time to time, but normally, like I said, it's a third Nexus going down at this point. There will be a Robo Facility or Robo Bay. We get all of the regular follow-ups. All he's seen right now is Phoenixes. And I think we are just about to see the battlefield flooded with Adepts. Clem is making the assumption right now that he is good to go and play the macro game. Yeah, he's going Stimpak, he's going Combat Shields. We'll see +1 infantry attack start up here, I'm sure. Right now. Right now. Okay, we haven't... now. Okay, we don't. Ah, of course, as soon as I look away. Jebaited. Anyway. He is not ready for this at all. I really do like the Phoenixes here, because you can still lift up some of the important units. You can still lift up the Cyclones, take them out of the equation. Alright, here we go. Zoun is ready to put it all on the line with this attack right here, right now. If this works out, we go to game number 4. If it doesn't, I think that Clem obtains the victory in this series. But I mean, already this fight is off to an excellent start. You do have to be careful here. Adepts, where are we going? Okay. He just shaded to the other side of the world and decided to come back. Yeah. No, this is... You need to see this. Much like the all-in we saw from the Terran in the previous game, you need to see this coming. GG. Next up, we find ourselves on the map Tokamak. Clem decided to send an SCV across the map early again, but he just left a little present. Aw, it's not even Christmas yet. It's not even Zoun's birthday. But he does get an engineering bay. How nice is that? Now, it's a classic opener that we see time and time again. It's mostly a, I want to be a prick build order. Because, like, you end up delaying the expansion for your opponent, sure, but you also end up delaying your own expansion. So, net gain here is the resources lost by canceling the structure. It is rarely a good trade for Terran. Like, at least if StarCraft was an Excel spreadsheet, it would rarely be a good trade. But at least you get a little bit of scouting done. At least you can, well, get the hang of the early game, right? And you can at the very least force your opponent's hand a little bit. And with that very momentum-driven style that Clem likes to go for, I don't mind it. Either way, command center inside of the main base. Factory on the back of this as well. And got ourselves a nice old Stalker right now after the Adept. I feel like Protoss players really want to play Sentry first every game. But they just get bullied a little bit too much. You know, like they really want to eat the nastiest and best food they can have, the tastiest they can find, but they're forced to eat their veggies. Stargate build again. Very curious here, actually, from Zoun. So I would say that Stargate opener, I mean, it's maybe like a 1 in 6 type of build, like a 1 in 6 type of opener against Terran. I think Phoenixes are still very, very powerful. And evidently in the previous game, I mean, Zoun managed to sell the perfect story right there to Clem. But most of the time, it is a Twilight Council into Blink. Okay, yep, Phoenixes again. You can also go into an Oracle or two. I wonder if we're going to see the exact same follow-up for Zoun this time around. Showing, by the way, quite a nice range of variety so far in his games. I would like to see him go for a Robo follow-up. So the Robo follow-up into Colossi, like that is the norm. What we saw in the previous game from Zoun, where he went for a Twilight Council into Charge. Lots more popular these days. And we once more have a Twilight Council. Relatively new school type of strategy. Either way, Clem needs to figure out what he's playing against, and at this point he doesn't. Can be a bit of a disaster when you go for a blind medevac drop and you assume your opponent is going Twilight. He doesn't know about the Stargate, although he's gonna see. No, he's not gonna see. Yep, this is good. Nicely done here by Zoun, but very quick clicking as well by Clem, who was already unloading that medevac before the Phoenixes even came into vision, it seemed. Still though, this is the real strength of this opener. You can shut down everything with Phoenixes, assuming you're good at the game. Now that is of course the big assumption. But in theory, Phoenix builds are great against everything, and they can force the game to go a little bit longer. No proxy gateways this time around. Charge is coming up. It is not going to be Glaive Adepts either, so I guess this is going to be a more macro-oriented approach. I love the really quick lift up there. Huh. Cyclone, by the way, still bugged. I'm going to keep pointing this out. The Cyclone's lock-on ability is about 33% faster than it's supposed to be. Not really much of an issue in this matchup. But it's starting to become a little bit frustrating, Terran versus Zerg. Then again, in the most recent balance patch, when they proposed a bunch of changes, they had fixed an issue on the Brute Lord, and then they decided to revert a bug fix. Because apparently it made the Brute Lord too good? So I don't know, man. Maybe bug fixes are just features now, I don't know. Anyway, one Marine gets lifted up in the air. Templar Archives. So this will be a macro-focused follow-up for Zoun. Yep, third Nexus here is going to finish. And this is the more conventional follow-up for Zoun. Although I would still not say it's the most conventional one follow-up, right? Because that would be the good old Colossi. This is cheeky, though, from Clem. Clem sending out a medevac drop against the Phoenix opener. He knows that he will have nowhere to go if the medevac gets spotted. Lucky here for him, those Phoenixes are currently still in his own main base, and that means that these Marines can actually put in a bit of work. Now, no Stimpak yet. No upgrades for those units. Just men with guns. It's not much, but it's honest work. Yeah, maybe we should chill a little bit. We're just about to unlock some nice power spikes. Don't know if you want to wait all the way until +1 is also finished, but... yeah, we've already snuck it across the map. Clem, by the way, doesn't know, right? Like, he doesn't know where the units are going to be located or what he's looking for. Gonna be an easy counter right here for Zoun. Plenty of units available. Yep. Nice test. And now those Phoenixes are immediately swinging into motion. How about this, though? Moving through the center of the map. Not a whole lot of action going on here for Zoun just yet, who now is finishing up Storm. Major power spike, of course. Generally, ghosts don't come out until Terran is on 3 bases. One storm here, man. One storm to find them, and in the... Okay, no. Too late. Alright. Man, no storms at all. I would have already wasted all my energy on those High Templar. All of it. Nice target firing right here, though, by Clem, who got rid of the pylon here, and now also killed the Templar Archives itself. Push over here on the right side of the map. Okay. This is that same drop from earlier, but then joined by a bunch of friends. Man, how does Clem do this? I feel like just a second ago he was countered really hard, and then he's like, no, actually. Hold up right now. Let me just see if I can go and win the game. This isn't really supposed to happen. We do have a nice storm over here at the very least. Okay, maybe we should have used them a little bit earlier. It's a very risky approach, though, from Clem, right? Because he knows there's a bunch of those Phoenixes out, and sneaking out a medevac like that, if you get the medevac spotted, all of this aggression over here effectively gets nullified. Because you really can't do this with one less medevac. It changes the entire dynamic of the fight, but suddenly, you take a bit of a risk, you sneak it around. Obviously, it's calculated, because he probably sent that medevac out as he saw the Phoenixes over here, right? And he was like, whoop, quick, boosted out of the main. Still, though, Zoun has an awful lot of army. It's just that Clem is currently running circles around him. Microing his ass off inside of the main base here of the Protoss player, and it's working out really, really nicely. Rebuilding the Templar Archives, finally. It's an expensive structure to be forced to rebuild. And it does mean that he's only got one High Templar right now, and it's stuck! What? No, are you stuck? Oh, no. Oh, no. Maybe he's pretending, I don't know. I've seen a video once of a lady who was pretending to be stuck. Anyways, lifts up the Widow Mine. Man, he really needs the High Templar. What? Go help him! Thought maybe that's his stepbrothers. Come on! Do we? No, we don't have a prison. We don't even have anything here. There is a robo facility, but there is no easy way for Zoun to get that unit to join the fight. That is really clumsy. He must have been warped in right in that spot. And that is not the type of mistake you're allowed to make against, well, one of StarCraft 2's best players. Clem is an absolute monster, man. You need everything you can get. Oh no, another High Templar goes down for free. And look at the supply count now, right? Like, it's one of those things. What exactly has happened in this game? Well, Clem decided to go across the map and kill his opponent. That's effectively what we have here. The man's just going around the map, drops all over the place, micros multiple fights at the same time, keeps up the macro in the meantime too. This is a 4th base going down. He's, well, transitioned right now towards ghosts. He has a much more reliable answer against Archons and High Templar and even charge slots right now. Like, ghosts are phenomenal against everything that the Protoss player has here. How do you do it while you're microing multiple fights? Well, just be better at the game, guys. That is what it ultimately comes down to. Just be faster, more accurate, have better micro, better macro. Maybe grow out your hair. Clem's been growing out his hair for like 3 years, it seems. Every time I see a picture of Clem or I see him participating in a tournament, it seems like his hair is a couple centimeters longer. Maybe he's like that biblical figure. Who is it again? Is it Samson? I don't know. Anyways. Who has all the power in the world because his hair is so long. Maybe that's how Clem works as well. The longer his hair becomes, the more powerful the man is. There's gonna be one final hurrah one day where Clem tears down the entire StarCraft scene with all of his strength. This is what Clem does better, though, than any other Terran player. Like, all memes aside, other Terran players out there are resorting to SCV all-ins. Clem is dealing with all of this shenanigans from Protoss by multitasking. And over time, it's a slow process, but over time, he just outgrows Protoss. And he doesn't feel that urgency to, like, end the game right now. Look at this. We're playing a little bit of Ring Around the Rosie here as he picks up and drops on either side of the gateway. Kills a Nexus over here on the far left. Fired up the +2 research as well in the meantime. Didn't have the resources for the +2 armor, but he doesn't really need it. Okay, nice targeting there by Zoun. Finally gets one of the medevacs out with full units inside of it. But at this point, he needs to get about 4 of those medevacs in order to actually drive it home. Now, Zoun is good at not dying. Oh, maybe get another one? Nope. He is very good at staying alive. Maybe he's got that playing on his headphones while they're playing a game. You know, staying alive by the Bee Gees? I think it's the Bee Gees. First I was afraid. Maybe that's what he's doing. It's a dangerous play, though, because now Clem is ready to bring all of his units across the map. And this is the first main engagement. We've had a lot of little skirmishes. This will be the first time that Clem actually clumps his units up. Some good storms right here by Zoun, though. Okay. Not a lot of buffer anymore. Oh, he just herded all of those zealots into the range of the Widow Mines. Still, though, not quite enough here for Clem to actually go across. It's mostly just... Or to drive it home, I suppose. It's mostly just because he once more sent his reinforcing units towards the other side. That's only Stalkers. No Colossi or High Templar in the mix this time here. Fifth command center coming up. +1 air weapons. +3 for the ground units. Viking production with double starport is also well underway. As Clem decides to chill for a little bit. Now, this is an opportunity here for Zoun. Zoun has been treated like a punching bag for the last 8 minutes or so. But you know what? Turns out he's a really good punching bag. I don't know what the qualities of a good punching bag are. But at the very least, he's still here. Yeah. Problem is, if you look at this objectively, right? Clem has the bigger economy, he's got the bigger army, he's got the better tech, he's got the better upgrades. So good luck. Plus he's Clem. That also helps. Zoun is running away for half of the Terran army. Never a good spot to be in. This is like that very scary Chihuahua over here, you know? It's somehow this force is shutting down the entirety of the Terran, or the Protoss' main army. Killed a Nexus there. It does lose a couple of SCVs in the meantime at home. Chihuahua strategy is really strong. One of my neighbors has a Chihuahua, dude. Whenever that dog is outside and I have my window open, I just hear it the entire day. It will just do it the entire... You'd imagine at some point you get tired of barking. That dog doesn't. Okay, Zoun still kept a lot of his important units alive. I will unleash my cats. Milo, go grab him. Actually, Milo would probably be terrified of the little Chihuahua. Milo is a very large cat, but he's also pretending like he's very... I don't know, it's a bit of a weird cat. He would probably be terrified. Okay. Little squad of units gone around the site. I think we are just about to witness Clem obtain the victory here. I mean, there is really just no other potential outcome, right? Unless we see... Oh my god, those Vikings, there's so freaking many of them. Unless we see the Terran player here make a gigantic blunder, this has been a victory like 15 minutes in the making. Okay, maybe more like 10 minutes in the making, but ever since he sent that medevac drop out, he just hasn't let his foot off the gas. And he's absolutely relentless. I mean, there's expansion after expansion after expansion all over the map. He can start transitioning towards Liberators if he really wants to, but nobody does this better than Clem. Absolutely relentless. Phenomenal series of games right here by the French Terran player. And you can see that he's even better than he was last year. So, he won the World Cup. in 2024 by being really good at StarCraft 2 and absolutely destroying Sero in the grand finals. Like, he won the finals 5-0. If he plays like this, and then also obviously dodges TVT, which is a pretty volatile matchup, by playing Protoss versus Terran instead, I mean, I think he's basically the complete package. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back-to-back World Championship victories in 2024 and 2025.